We will call our November 3rd common council meeting to order. If you'll join me for pledge and prayer. Again, I apologize for the video. Our camera's having some difficulties, so. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow your heads in prayer. Father, thank you for this time that you've given us tonight to be stewards and servants of the city. Pray that you give us wisdom as we conduct the business of the city. Pray for our first responders and our departments as they serve our community. We thank you for everything that you blessed us with. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, we do have everyone present in the forum, so we will go ahead and get on with the business. Approval of the minutes from October 13th.
I would motion to approve as presented.
Ben, second.
Second.
Thank you, Kelby. Any questions or comments? Seems like it's been a while since we've met, but yeah. All right, if there are no questions or comments, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no petitions and comments by citizens this evening. Reports of committees, boards, and commissions. Jeff, you've got our September 30th. Clerk Treasurer's report. I'll turn it over to you.
This report was impacted primarily by two expenditures during the month. If you look at the very top line of the, you can either scroll to the very top of this, and you'll see that the ending balance for last month was 26.3 million, and the ending balance this month is 24 million. Of that, there was a $642,000 expenditure to purchase the Dietrich building plus the cartoon alley. That brought that was $690,000 that came out of redevelopment for those two items. And then the other big line item expenditure was $918,000 that came out of it would be Bank 35. It's that lower section that shows $1.7 million in it right now. That number was 2.6 million last month. It's $1.7 million this month for Wygan construction expenditures for the fire station. So those two had a $1.6 million impact on the overall report that you see here, of which the general fund is still in good shape. The $642,000 came out of redevelopment, so it didn't come out of the general funds themselves. General fund takes into account all the banks that flow, all the various accounts and such that flow through the normal chart of accounts, but that's the only differentiating point there. If you go down to the investment section, it's going to be interesting to see what happens coming up in about 60 days, a little less than that. We've got two CDs that are coming due, or excuse me, maturing two in January, but there's one that's coming that's going to mature in December. And with the rate dropping a quarter point a week or so ago, and the overall thought process seems to be that in December they're going to drop it another quarter point. I think that we're going to start seeing the really nice interest rate environment that you see on this report come down into the threes before too terribly long. The money market is getting 3.96% right now. That's probably going to be reduced here shortly too with the downward fluctuation in this. So we're going to have some decisions to make how we go about investing when these mature. I don't know that we're going to reinvest the redevelopment one for projects that may be coming due next year. If we do, we'll do something really short term with that. But the city investor fund, and the one that doesn't impact us so much is that CSO reserve. Those are just reserve funds that were put up for the CSO project from 2016 that we have to keep on hand as reserve funds. So those aren't funds that we could access and do anything with. They have to stay in an account and stay there until a certain time, probably maturity of the project. And at that point, you use the funds to pay the last payment or so.
Okay.
So that's what that looks like for now.
Yeah. And that one we can maybe look at a longer time frame because that's going to stay there forever. And we all we have to keep is the balance in there. We can use the the interest for other purposes. So,
And we get it annually, we'll do a calculation to see what we have to have on hand for reserve. And so that number has come down in the past. We could, if it comes down again, we'll just keep in there whatever we have to. And we'll take the interest and whatever balances due back to us out of it. But, so I'll submit the report there.
thank you, Jim. Council, any questions?
As a municipality, are we restricted on how we can invest these funds?
Yeah, there's certain guidelines. And that's why we hired Baker Tilly to kind of handle that for us.
Is it limited to money market and CD?
Yeah, I would want,
We
If
couldn't,
you
we
can-
couldn't go into the stock market. We couldn't do anything that would be at
High
high
risk.
risk
right.
to the public funds. Since they're public funds, you have to do something fairly conservative with them.
But there's a criteria that designates it high risk or low risk?
Yeah, we can get that information
That'd be
for
interesting
you.
to see.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll see if I can get something
Yeah,
and
no rush.
I'll try and have something for you for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Because I'll submit the next report at the next meeting, hopefully, the one for October.
Yeah. Yeah, but definitely for public funds, there are different stipulations than the private market. So for good reason, but
Yeah.
we'll get those to you. Okay, any other questions? Not all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, did we have a motion?
No, we
We have a motion, never mind. Okay, do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the CT report, September 30th, part 1 and 2.
Seconded.
All right, sorry, it's been a few weeks since we've had a meeting. I'm just a little rusty, a little rusty. All right, any other questions?
Oh, they already approved it by voice.
No, they didn't. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Tonight, under unfinished business, we have second reading of ordinance 1647 of 2026 salary ordinance. One thing I do want to note is in Exhibit A, the next tab over, Crystal, we did notice that we had a couple of positions that were not included. Deputy Fire Chief in H5, and then salary 1, property manager / assistant planner, and in P2, an investigator, similar to the first class patrolman. Steve, is that accurate? You've got one investigator listed on ADP?
Yes.
Okay. We just wanted to clean up that. Like I said, it's never perfect. But Adriel and I were going through this and we caught those 3. So that's really the only change from last time. If you've had a chance to look at it, any questions you guys have? If there are no questions, would someone like to make a motion?
Would it be a motion with the included changes? Okay.
Yes.
I would make a motion to approve the salary ordinance number 1647 with the included changes as presented. Second that motion.
Thank you. Ben and Austin. Any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Under new business, we have 2 ordinances. This is really an introductory to these 2 ordinances, similar, I'll say, to the budget. One is ordinance 1648 is amending the employee handbook. We adopted that back in 2021, or actually adopted in 2020 to be effective January 1 of 2021. So it's been 5 years. We went through with Adriel to kind of take a look at it. You'll see the red line version here of the changes. A lot of it was grammatical in nature. The 2 major changes to this are the longevity, which this year in 2026, we plan to, instead of paying out longevity at the end of the year, we're taking that amount of longevity and spanning it across each paycheck. So it will impact the amount of retirement going into people's accounts. So in an effort to kind of invest in our people, we felt like that was a good move. The other one has to do with overtime, which I don't think we need to capture that, but there are some federal programs on the police side that allow for paying overtime up to twice the regular rate. Normally, our overtime is 1.5, but these are federal grants, and so we wanted to allow the police to take advantage of that. Their federal grants are not dollars that come out of our budget, so we wanted to make that change as well. But like I said, most of them are what'd you call them? Not
Oh, just they were purely language related changes.
so there's not, it looks like a lot more than what's actually in here. But again, if you guys want to take time to review that and go through, we can have a more in-depth conversation on second reading. If you do have questions, let me know, and we can have Adriel here at the next meeting too to answer some of these questions. Some of them are related to labor laws and regulations. So any questions on ordinance 1648?
Maybe Adriel will be able to answer this better, but that grant that you talked about, federal grant for
Yes.
paying double time, how does that get reimbursed and how often? So if we outlay the cash,
Steve, I don't know if you can answer that. How does that grant work for Operation Pullover?
So I believe quarterly, we submit numbers to the,
And the grant comes through the county, correct? The grant funds come to the county
yes.
and
So
they,
what used to happen is it was every department within the county, and then the feds, to make it easier, started the traffic safety partnerships, which is the entire county. So the county sort of manages it. We just kind of submit the reimbursement to the county, and then they reimburse the city.
and doesn't the county manage the manpower as well?
Yes, as far as.
So
like the
where they're gonna be
disbursement,
and
yes,
yeah.
the disbursement.
So a lot of
funds.
that goes through the county and is reimbursed.
we have
By
any
the county.
administrative upfront costs to get this grant kicked into motion? Or we just submit something to somebody at the county and they make it work?
There's numbers and things that we submit from our end, but I think we've been involved with this program for 30 years. So the partnership actually made it easier. Instead of everybody submitting the same paperwork, we all kind of go together and submit it once. So it has gotten easier from that part.
But as far as the turnaround on that, we pay the payroll, or do we not pay that until we actually get the funds?
We do, and then it gets reimbursed to us. I believe it's quarterly.
Yeah.
That's how that comes in.
Thank you.
Does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
yep, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, good question. Any other questions?
In regards to employee use of city-owned vehicles,
Yes.
it says that you shouldn't use it for any other business other than city business, other than express authorization of the mayor. With law enforcement officers taking their cars home, is that sufficient enough to cover that policy? Or is
I
that
think,
some
I
other
think
place?
there is a provision for police vehicles. Maybe we need to spell that out, because I know that for fire and police, there are some different rules, and it's referenced a couple sections in there. But that is
I just didn't see it.
a good point, to take home.
Just more
Vehicles.
express language to
Right.
give them more, authority for what they use their vehicles for.
Yeah, and I know that we have that language because we spoke about it. If they are using the vehicles in the 4-county area, if there is a call that comes in and they're in their vehicle, they respond. So there is specific language on that, I'll find out where it's at and make sure that we,
Yeah, I
Have the
haven't gotten through
language.
the whole thing, so. I didn't make
yeah, but I
decisions.
think there's some language on, some other, procedures for police and fire as well. So I will ask Adriel for that and make sure that we tie those together. Any other questions? Comments? Like I said, this is first reading. That's why we have 3 readings. It's basically an introduction, and then we can dig a little bit deeper at the next meeting. Or if you have questions, feel free to send them my way and we'll get them addressed before the next meeting. Someone like to make a motion?
Make a motion, we approve ordinance 1648, amending employee handbook on the first reading.
Second.
Motion second. Again, any questions? Comments of the large document? But like I said, most of them are grammatical in nature. But if you see something that jumps out, please let me know. Okay, if there are no further questions, all in favor of approving ordinance 1648 on first reading, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item is ordinance 1649, adding chapter 52, refuse and recycling to city Japanese code of ordinances. I will just go back to my comments at the State of the City address in January, not knowing what was exactly going to happen with Senate Rolled Act 1, which is now clearer to us. We talked about options of making that more palatable for communities like ours. We've already not hired an additional firefighter, which we planned on doing because of Senate Rolled Act 1. This is another instance where we will be gradually shifting the cost of trash and recycling to residents from the city. The proposal that I have is that we would have $5 per resident starting January 2026. In 2027, it would be $10, $15 in 2028, and 2029 would be the full implementation, which is 28. It's just under $20 for recycling and trash. But we're currently paying trash and recycling out of economic development income tax, and not knowing for sure exactly what will happen to that in 2028 with income tax. I feel like it's time that we take some steps now to do that. I'd like to be able to use economic development income tax for true economic development. We made the shift from property taxes to economic development back in 2008 when property tax caps went in place. Again, there are items that we're going to have to deal with that we've been forced to, and I hate to have to do this, but I think all communities are looking at ways that they can shift that burden from property tax to a user fee.
The annual cost for trash and recycling is in excess of $610,000.
You said per resident, did you mean like per household?
Per household.
Okay,
Yes, not
okay.
per resident.
I
Per
was just
household. So
thinking,
if you have a single family home, you have a trash receptacle and a recycling receptacle. Yeah, Crystal, if you can go to the next tab. Basically, we modeled this after Valparaiso's ordinance, but we added a whole new section to our code of ordinances because it does deal with that. If you can scroll down, those are the descriptions, but if you can scroll on right there. So this is the residential refuse garbage collection flat rate amount. That's kind of lists what those rates would be. And And then I've got language in here, and I don't know, we might look at this for senior citizens or families that are low to moderate income, having a break for them that they might pay one half of the standard rate. That's something I guess I'd like for you guys to think about, and we can discuss. I also highlighted a section right above this one where it says that the city does not provide garbage and refuse collection to properties located on private roads. There are a couple of roads that we have an agreement with the Board of Works that we do cover that. So I want to make sure we get the language correct on that. But again, this is a 13-page document that kind of lists what's provided, how it's provided, when pickup is. It also defines what yard waste is. And we kind of clarify for Brent and his street department, yard waste that's collected April to September, and then where it should be placed, how it should be stacked. And then yard waste can also be put in your trash receptacle as well. So I think it cleans up a lot of things for us. And again, it's a big document, but it's introductory. But I think it sets the stage for kind of what we've been talking about since January. So
So do you have the numbers for the property tax loss that we're seeing that we can put out when this becomes public?
yeah,
Or how do
We
we offset to say that residents are going to be saving in property tax? So this is the offset.
yeah, I can get that information for you for the next meeting so that we have that, or before next meeting. The Legislative Services Agency put out information right before this bill went into effect that shows our net losses with property taxes, and it's going to get what will happen is if I can try to explain this. On a residential home, you have a homestead deduction, and you also have a mortgage exemption. You have those two things. The homestead exemption is a set flat rate. They're changing that to whatever your net assessed value on your home is, you will only pay, you'll get a deduction of 2/3 of that value back in the year 2031. So, that's where the impact is at. So we will steadily be losing property tax revenue as they go to a rate-based system. It's super complex. I'm trying to explain it the best I can. The other factor in there is not only property taxes will be less for municipalities, but if we do not adopt an income tax locally, our income taxes will go away. And we had a $7.5 million budget for our general fund. Income taxes make up about 3.5 million. So if we do nothing on income taxes and the county can't provide income tax revenue to the city through their formula, we're looking at 40% cut in our budget. And I don't know if we do levy an income tax rate to people, the maximum right now in the law is 1.2%. I don't know what that 1.2% represents for the city. Can we make up that 3.5 million in our own 1.2% tax? There's just a lot of unknowns that if we don't start doing things now, it's going to be a cliff at 2028. We're hopeful that the legislature will relook at the lit and the property taxes this session and make some adjustments to that. I think if you ask them, they don't know how the formula is calculated, and they don't know what the dollar amounts are. So we've been the Indiana Association of Cities and Towns has been very active in getting facts out there. So I will provide you guys with as many facts as I can. But yeah, I think, is it the standard deduction next year will be $250 per residence? And then an additional 125 for seniors and 125 for veterans. So there's automatically a $250. That's not a deduction. That's a credit that people will be getting back in their,
A new credit?
Yeah.
In the
yeah. And
tax year
under the
25? Or tax year
Taxes
26?
payable 25, tax
Table 26.
payable, yeah, 25 taxes payable in 26. So in 2026.
Oh, on property taxes.
Yes, you will get a credit of $250. So we're looking at, if you get $250 back on your property taxes, this would be $60 the first year. So you're still netting $190 in credit, if you look at it that way.
Did you get all that, Amy?
I feel like I should know this, but I don't. Is there another refuse and garbage collection company other than the company that we use?
Yes,
Have we bid that?
we have, I think in 2015, 14,
Yeah.
I think Republic submitted a bid. Borden submitted a bid. Did we have another one at that time?
I was thinking there were
There was-
three,
there
but
were
I'm not
three.
sure. Yeah.
And
Sweekheimer, I think.
what's that?
Sweekheimer.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it
So,
worth leveraging that? Go through those motions?
yeah, and we have typically a 5-year agreement just because of the nature. You don't want to be switching trash collection
Right.
companies every year. I think ours comes due in 2028 for a new contract.
We used to have an annual
Right. But I think there's,
election to
yeah,
continue it the next year.
Are we in a contract now?
we are a 5-year
Annual,
contract.
oh, 5.
Yeah.
5-year with a 5-year renewal option.
And that's actually sitting down face to face with somebody and either choosing to
Negotiating.
renew or
Yes.
not.
Yes.
It's not an automatic renewal if it's rated.
No, it's not. No, we have to sit down and renegotiate. We've got the cost through 2028. We don't have anything beyond that. I think I understand their point of view. I mean, look at what's happened in the last 5 years. For them to project out what their contract is going to be. I think it's in both of our interests to keep it to the 5 years or less.
Yeah, I get it. I just
But yeah, that's definitely,
want to keep everybody honest.
yeah. But I will say that, we've had very few issues with Borden. And I think Fort Wayne had a situation where they had a company that went bankrupt in the middle of a contract, and that was, so yeah, looking at those financials, looking at the history of the companies, is always good. Yeah. We'll
I get it.
definitely look at it.
Can a household opt out?
No, if they do, they can opt out, but they're still paying the fee, and the fees will be assessed on their water and sewer bill.
Right, so it just will come in as one payment, like nothing has changed just
Correct.
with that. Okay, it's
Correct.
not like it'll be,
No, you're not
Here's your bill
writing two
for it, you
different
have to-
checks, no. It will come in and the clerks will separate that into the funds of where it goes, and this will be going to pay the contract.
But wouldn't it make sense that maybe a household, if someone that leaves for Florida for 6 months,
There
could
is
opt
some-
out, or
There is some language, I believe. I'm not sure exactly where it's at, but I think you can suspend service. If you're suspending water and sewer, you can suspend the trash rate. And I do want to check with Borden on that as well. Because their contract is based on so many units for 12 months a year. I do want to verify that, but that's a good point. Again, this is introductory for your insomnia and nights. You guys can,
would you be
Rich
all
is
right
legal.
if we did this with just the first year fee, not knowing what we're gonna see with upcoming
I'm okay
legislation?
with, yeah, I'm okay with whatever you guys want to do.
I mean, obviously the big thing hanging over all of this, you mentioned the State of the Union, how this was likely
This
going
was-
to be a thing, but
right.
we've known about this, talking about it since I
Right.
came on board. At least, we kind of envisioned this.
I think
Way
it's,
stair step, nobody wants to see it go from $5 to $20 in a couple of years. And I get that. It'd be nice to be able to revisit this, but it's pretty obvious folks down in India have no idea what they're doing. And so until they get that.
And there's a lot of pressure on them right now to make adjustments.
Mhm. Yeah. But if they see us doing nothing,
Mhm.
they'll say, well, I guess you guys aren't as bad as what
Oh, we
we
can't.
thought.
Yeah, we can't
So
not.
it's not,
plan
and we're
for
not,
it.
we're not doing it because of that, but like you said, since 2008, we've been talking about, okay, how are we gonna be able to keep trash and recycling as a city paid benefit to our residents? As much as I'd like to, the pressures that we're under to be fiscally responsible, we just can't provide all the services that we once did.
I would guess we were probably one of the last municipalities that didn't.
Yeah, I think, I've had conversations with, the mayor of Elkhart and the mayor of Goshen. They're currently, paying that, but they're gonna be doing similar things that we're doing.
I just wanted.
Yeah, so I had that did you highlight that? You did? Okay, thank you.
Crystals all over.
Yeah, so, so I think we need to take a look at that and see what, because we have quite a few people probably that do go to Florida, and I need to check with Nikki to find out what we do with water. If it's something that we suspend them or they just pay the minimum. Do you know, Brian? Do they pay the minimum water and sewer?
Yes, I don't know that.
You don't pull any meters,
No.
so, but I think that's a good thing. If they do have a leak, we can kind of flag it. We know they're gone. So I do want to check on this one to see, if we can offer some relief in that regard. But the question is our contractor going to honor that as well? They're still doing the same route, but
Do we have any other service that we offer at a discounted rate for like low income that we already?
no, there's been some discussion. Some communities are doing something similar with water and sewer bills. The question is, who ends up picking up that difference? You still have the cost of operating the service. So, fortunately, we've got, the trustees and, FCDC that helps, families, pay some utility and rent assistance.
Yeah, I don't think we
So-
want to get in the business of applications. We'd have to base it on some
Yeah.
other already determined.
Yeah, and I think we had in there 150% of the, one down. Yeah,
But wouldn't you have to be, then you'd have to be gathering
Yeah.
income verification and all of that
Right,
mess.
right. And again, that's why I highlighted, because I didn't have a chance to talk this over
Right.
with Nikki, but she'd be the one to monitor this. So,
Good job.
so I left it in here as something we can discuss, but
So are we changing any of the verbiage based on what Ben and Amy said on doing the $5 for 2026, but because there's so many questions, do we really want to or need to project out beyond
I guess
26?
I was just showing kind of my approach to, $5 more per year, until we get to that. We're probably $17 or $18 combined for trash and recycling right now, and that escalates per year. So we can leave it in here or we can modify it. And I would suggest that we approve it as is for now, and we can amend it on second reading once you guys have a little bit more time to digest. And like I said, I'll get you those numbers.
Is
What our
there
revenue.
a way to put in a plan to renew it annually? An annual renewal of this ordinance?
I'm going to defer to Brian on this. I mean, this is city code.
So we don't forget it.
Pros and cons on that, I would think. A pro would be that you continually are checking, you know, with the realities of the use with the statute. The other side of it that would be a con, I think, would be doing it every year and having to go through that process. Plus any work that would require the city employees to kind of tabulate that.
It might be difficult to get vendors to want to come do it if they only knew it was for 1 year too.
That's true. And that's one of the things when we've had a series of longer term contracts. And I think the feeling has been that we got pretty good response in terms of the dollar figures that we were getting. I think that was because we had multiple years that we were, and it's not that we have to choose those, you know, it's a year to year choice. Like we do have a choice to elect it, but we know in advance what the impact is going to be.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, it's a good, very good comment. And I think we just need to think a little bit. And also the other things like the mayor mentioned is that we can take a look at this from time to time if we want to, just amend the ordinance.
I think you alluded to this, but inside of our 5-year contract, there's an escalation of fees. Is that based on a percentage or is that based on something else? And it's written into the contract that way.
It's a dollar amount in the contract. I didn't go through, I'd have to go through it again to see if it's a set percentage of like a 3% increase just on.
It's a designate, and I can't remember either if it's a flat number or if it's a percentage, but
It's a flat number.
it's something that both parties know. The vendor and ourselves know what it would be from year to year.
I'll get that contract for you
Yeah.
guys as well.
Right.
Yeah, generally speaking, I completely understand not wanting to do it a year-to-year basis. It's just with the,
Well, there's
With everything up in
uncertainty.
the air.
Yeah, there's uncertainty,
Yeah.
and I don't want to. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to, strap our residents with additional fees, but I don't think if I could say anything, I think the state is always going to be critical of what our tax rates are and what we spend, even though they're not the ones that are boots on the ground living in our communities. So I think it's they will continue to count on us to be fiscally responsible, and I think they think there's waste now, but I can tell you since 2008, we have cut all the fat out of our budgets. If we cut more, it's digging into the muscle, and this is a part of that.
So we know now that we're going to take the hit immediately,
Mm-hmm.
and this isn't going to cover the expense that we have now. So what's our plan to cover this expense now with our budget? Because
We can cover it with this $5 per month. We built that into this year's budget, and that's why we want to get it passed before the end of the year. So when the January water bill goes out, we have these rates
Right.
ready to go.
Is that delta still hitting is that difference in this $5 versus what actual is that coming out of economic development?
Yeah.
Which is what it
Yes.
is right now, right?
Yes.
That's how it's
Right.
coming out
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
So we've kind of built the budget around this going into effect in 2026, the $5.
By doing it this way, it's this version of doing what you might think you should do from a water or wastewater standpoint from a rate increase in each year. Because if you don't have a small increase in the fees that you're charging each year, all of a sudden the project comes along and then somebody gets hit with a 10 to 15% increase and wonder why in the world they just got hit with a 10% increase when they could have been 2.5% and 3% between the time you did the last project and the next one. And by doing this, you kind of build it into where you know the increase is going to be there for each year of service that Borden provides. And so you're increasing it to kind of stick with the increase to cover the additional going forward. Because if you don't, and you do it for 5 years and you don't make any more adjustments, Borden or whoever else is going to increase those next years. And then you're going to have to start making up it with additional economic development, or somebody's going to get hit with even a larger jump when you start looking at transitioning this back again. So that's one of the thoughts that went into this, the way this is laid out.
You said you're good with sharing that
Yes,
wage contract?
yes, I will share that out. Hopefully get it out to you tomorrow. I'll try to get that property tax impact of what we know from the information that's been sent to us from LSA. And whatever other information you guys need, feel free to, email me with any questions you have and we'll get that to you before.
Maybe the projected revenue that $5 would bring. I think in the end, as a homeowner, it'd be nice to know. I know we can't project this because it's hard to tell, because I know it's very hard to tell from the state's numbers what the impact truly is to a household.
Well,
If there were some form of formula or as an example, like
right.
myself as a homeowner, this is the benefit I'm going to get this year. This is what I'm going to be paying more this year, and I'm going to have a net, benefit in the end. Then that will help for people to understand that I'm paying more on my water bill, but in the end, I'm going to get more back in my property tax.
Right.
If we are.
Right.
I mean, if we're looking at 2031 homestead, that's way too far down the road for people to feel like that's a benefit.
Right. And it's a stair step. I mean, it's gradually moving towards that 2/3 deduction. And I'll try to get that information to you as well.
And I know that's impossible to put out good examples because even the state can't put out good formulas.
They need to have parcel by parcel information. And that was something they did not have. And that's the models that are being built by folks like Baker Tilly and Reedy Financial. The other financial consultants are working on this with the state legislators to try to get accurate numbers for everybody and get a tool where you can go into your property tax to see what impact that's going to have on your taxes. So the two things that I think they will address is how they assess properties and what they're going to do with the distribution for lit. Those are the two major things that I've heard that the state legislature will try to address in this session. And hopefully that'll give us some more clarity. That's my hope.
In the meantime, clear as mud.
Yeah. Good questions, good discussion. Anything else? I don't want to. Would anyone like to make a motion?
This is a weird one. Because I get it. I don't like it. But if we need to keep talking about it and amend it, we need to make a motion for it. All right, the residents can come after me.
No, they'll come after me. No.
I make a motion, we approve first reading of ordinance 1649. For adding chapter 52, refuse and recycling code of ordinances.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, council. You can always tell them to contact their state legislator. I'm sure they can explain it
Well,
to them.
that's the thing. When people are promising, lower property tax, it comes at a cost. And so hopefully people will start seeing that when you vote people in that promise these things, it's coming at a cost.
Yeah.
So I hate to say it, but it's just very unfortunate.
Right.
So-
I don't hate to say it.
I mean, yeah, it's very unfortunate because now we're the bad guys, which is just really not the
Well,
case. I will make it us versus them at
and-
this point. so.
And the worst part of it is, it's one thing, I mean, we're always trying to figure out better ways to go about doing things, but especially as municipal government where everything has to be planned out so far along, where you want to run government like a business, but it's not the nature of it. Just because it takes so much, it's not nimble the way businesses are. And so to make a change like that, and it's obvious it was ready, shoot, aim from Indianapolis, that it's yeah.
Let me just say one more thing about that. The way that they determine taxes now is based on a levy system. So you take your assessed value and you take what you need and what your budget is from the previous year, and you factor in 6 years of income growth over those 6 years, and it's the average of those 6 years determines what your growth weight ratio is, your maximum levy growth quotient. The state can come in and say, even though we're growing, even though our maximum levy growth quotient should be 5.6%, the past couple of years, they've capped it at 4%. So we're losing 1.6% on our levy growth, even though we're a growing community. They're deciding what happens with how much money we receive. So I will take the heat for any decision we make as far as our tax rate here in Napanee. That's why I'm elected here. I have to answer to the taxpayers. But when the state comes and tells you what you can and can't do, that's just not, it's not good government.
Right.
So-
I mean, quite honestly, our hands are tied at this point, so.
Especially when you're competing with cities across the nation that people decide where they want to live, not necessarily where they want to get a job. They'll work from home or they'll find a job in the communities they want to live in. So we're competing for those amenities, those places where people want to live. I think we're making great strides here in Napanee to do that. It's just kind of a kick in the gut.
Denise will take it easy on us in the paper.
Denise will be truthful.
Denise will not censor this.
I'm also guessing Denise has been hearing this from lots of other places other than just us, so.
I think Denise's editor had a segment about this early on. So yes,
Well,
it is coming to
we're also
fruition.
competing against entities that are not fiscally responsible.
Yes, and
And we're
getting
seeing,
lumped into those.
yeah, we're seeing
communities.
them take out their frustration on, mismanagement on entities that are very fiscally responsible. And we're seeing in the school world too.
It's not political.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion.
Okay. We voted on that, right? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Approval of accounts payable vouchers. Where we're mismanaging all our money. Jeff, I'll turn it over to you.
The register contains 2 payrolls, health and life insurance payments that came to $612,000. Avon Marsh, a Jackson Street Engineering, Jackson Street Extension Engineering, invoice for $24,000. That's on page 10. Tree removal services, came to $9,300. That's on page 14. Fire station, supplies, that covered a couple of different things. That was the air compressors that they had to get, which cost about $70,000, and then other supplies that they needed. The total cost over pages 15 through 17 came to about $78,000. The FU car, that is the two-wheel car that's sitting in the lobby of the fire station, that was $39,000, but that was offset by somebody who funded that, and you know their names, and I don't remember it right now, but
Yeah.
That washed itself, right? Like that
Yeah.
was paid,
Yes.
that was free.
So
Yeah.
nice.
And then we purchased the Dietrich building in September, but it's flowing through this register. 642,000 is impacting this register. That's on page 22. And so that gets you pretty darn close to your $1,500,000 that's on here. So I will submit it as is then.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the accounts payable vouchers totaling $1,556,649.62.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Reports of city officers is none reported, but anybody? I would just, mention you guys did get a copy of the, AIM Council Members Seminar. That's a virtual event. If you'd like to attend, let us know. We can get you guys signed up. There's no cost to you, but I know it is during the middle of the day. And we could probably get a recording of it and forward that to you, as well. So let us know if you want to go in and get you signed up. Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're adjourned. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you again.
I think it's still better. This I shows me how.
Think about-
I have to take one.